Hey friend, welcome back to Bible Tract Echoes. I'm your host, Micah McCurry, and it is a joy to be with you folks today. I want to take a moment to express my gratitude for each and every one of you that are listening right now. Your prayers are such a help for the ministry's sake, and I'd ask you to continue praying. We've got some incredible things on the horizon for Bible Tracts Incorporated. I'm excited to share those with you in the coming days, and I'm blessed for the opportunity to connect with you. And whether you're tuning in from the comfort of your home, during your daily commute, or wherever you may be, your partnership for the gospel's sake through this radio broadcast and in using our tracks means the world to us. I'd like to ask you, if you would, to take a moment and consider using gospel tracks. We have about 40 different titles to choose from. And we also, maybe you're unaware, but if you attend a local church, I'd encourage you to do so. The Bible talks much about the local church and its importance in the Christian's life. If you'd like some customized tracts for your church, whether you're a pastor or maybe you'd like to let your pastor or leadership team know about this, we actually print customized gospel tracts as well. We don't talk about it all that much, but it's one of those deals where we have people ask us all the time, and it makes me wonder if there are more people wondering. And so I'd encourage you, on our website, BibleTractsInc.org, we have all of our normal gospel tracts plus numerous others, ones that wouldn't necessarily make it into regular circulation. For instance, I wrote, about a month or two ago, a gospel tract for people to use when they go to the gym. I think it's titled something along the lines of Eternal Fitness or Beyond the Gym, Finding Eternal Fitness, and how to make sure, yes, I'm glad you're taking care of your body here on earth, but you also need to take care of your eternity as well. And we'll talk more about that one. Maybe I'll even mention it on the radio and read a little bit of it in the coming days. But I'd encourage you, if you would, if you'd like customized tracts for yourself personally, for your church, go to BibleTractsInc.org. You may recall that our gospel tracts are free as the Lord provides. Now, custom tracts, what we do with them, they obviously cost a lot more to produce. Our gospel tracts, when you order them in a million or a 250,000 or something like that, when we print them in that large quantity, the price per piece comes down substantially. Even to print them in 10,000, the price per piece is much different than if you were printing a smaller quantity. And so, because of the design work that goes into them, the additional employee time, it's different from our norm. We do charge a little bit for the custom tracts. Now, realize we still provide free gospel tracts, and we don't plan on changing that anytime soon. And so you can always go to BibleTractsInc.org. You can see our free gospel tracts, but we also have custom tracts as well. And if those can be a help to you, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. BibleTractsInc.org. I realized all this week I have not mentioned to you that you can actually get a hold of me directly. We have so many folks that do so. You can text me at 309 316 7240. Again, that number, if you'd like to get a hold of me for any reason, if you have questions about custom tracks, if you have questions about what we do at BTI, who we are, who I am, I'd love to speak to you. Let me give you that number one more time. Grab a paper, a pen, maybe open up your phone. Let me give you that number right now. You listening? It's 309 316 7240. One more time, 309 316 7240. Now let's get into today's study, if we can. Go to Joshua chapter number 7. Joshua chapter number 7. We've looked this week at this concept or this problem of some of the biggest spiritual mistakes that you could make. And I told you yesterday I would share a little bit of my background. I grew up in a military home, had the opportunity to be an Army brat. My dad was in the Army for 20-something years, and we greatly enjoyed that. But I left home to go to Bible college, and I was out there in the Santa Clara, San Jose area of California, and I had wrecked my car. This was not the mistake I wanted to tell you about, but it was an additional mistake. We'll call it a 2-for-1 today. I had wrecked my car. Not a good day. I was on my way to work. We don't have time to get into that, but I needed a replacement car. And so you realize oftentimes in places like California or Florida, different places, but especially in California, because of the cost of living, because most of the cars that were sold there didn't have rust and different things, oftentimes there was kind of a California surcharge, meaning that they just cost more. And if you are living in California, you're listening right now, you can attest to this or tell me if I'm wrong. When I was looking for a car, this was back in, this would have been the 2000s. It feels like so long ago, right? 2008, 2009, thereabouts. I needed a vehicle, and I was looking on this place called Craigslist. Maybe it was 2010. I'm sorry, no, it was 2010, 2011, thereabouts. I was looking on this place called Craigslist. Ever heard of it? I know Facebook Marketplace has maybe pushed them out of the market a little bit, but we were looking, and I was wise enough to send my dad potential options. Say, hey, Dad, what do you think of this? We talked about, I think on Tuesday of the broadcast, about ignoring God, ignoring your Heavenly Father. Well, I was smart enough not to ignore my earthly father in this, and I found a car. It was a red Pontiac Grand Am. Long story short, it ended up being a problem. It was listed a little bit lower than it should have been. I don't know if it was like $2,500 it was listed for. It should have been at California at the time, for whatever year it was. It should have been more like $3,500. But there weren't any other markers about it that made it seem like a scam. And so I showed it to my dad. He said, it seems like a really good deal. I mean, $2,500 would have been what I expected, or he expected to pay in Kansas where my parents lived, but it was a little bit light for California. And it was one of those deals where if it's a good deal, you want to jump on it immediately. I already had money taken out of the bank, cash in hand. I wanted to get a cheap car, and I messaged the guy. Can I come look at it? Can I potentially come buy it? Well, he wanted to meet in a grocery store parking lot in Oakland. Well, some of the stereotypes, some, not all, but some of the stereotypes about Oakland are there for a reason. And I actually interned at a church in Oakland for about a year and a half. And so I'm intimately familiar with that area. And long story short, because of my work schedule, I was working second shift, going to school in the morning, and I wanted to meet him. I wanted to buy this car. And so I said yes. Now, at the time, I had not interned yet in Oakland. I didn't know what I was walking into. And I took a car guy with me, a friend of mine. I was at Bible college, took a guy that I knew, he knew cars. I took him with me. I met the guy. I even talked him down to $2,200 or something. Car seemed fine. I mean, it was, kind of a fixer-upper type thing. Needs a little bit here and there. But long story short, I go to the DMV. This was maybe, Thursday, Friday, or I go to the DMV on Monday, and I find out through a long process that the gentleman, the two guys that sold me this car, were not the legitimate owners of this car. Now, I did not know this when I bought it. I'm a young, dumb college student. I had no clue. Long story short, the car ended up not being their car. I tried to find the real owner of the vehicle, and this whole rigmarole. And let me tell you, California DMVs, at least in 2010, 2011, they took forever. You could make an appointment and still wait an hour and a half. It was a mess. Regardless, though, I finally had this car in my name, got a hold of the original, sent certified letters, all this type of stuff. And of course, less than 6 weeks later, the engine goes and dies. And it's going to cost me more than it was worth to even buy the car in the first place. And so I look back at that and say, that was a dumb thing to do, Micah. Don't buy cars from shady people in an Oakland, grocery store parking lot with drug deals going on around the back. That's not the place. Yes, I understand that. But I realized this. The thought that I had peace with almost immediately after this happened was I'd much rather make a mistake like that with a $2,500 car than I would with a $25,000 car. I'd much rather make a mistake like that than I would with my life. Would much rather make a mistake like that than I would with my marriage or with my children. That sort of financial mistake, if you want to call it that, the scope of that mistake, the issues it caused for my life were far less than what a spiritual mistake could cost me. My desire this week, we've talked about ignoring God. We've talked about irritating God. And we're going to get into Joshua chapter 7, verse number 2. And Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Bethaven, on the east side of Bethel, and spake unto them, saying, Go up and view the country. And the men went up and viewed Ai, and they returned to Joshua and said unto him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and smite Ai, and make not all the people to labor thither, for they are but few. Now this, you can make the case, is a mistake on Joshua's part and these advisors. But long story short, 30-something men die in this assault on Ai. But it was not all Joshua's fault. There was a reason that God's people were impeded in their work. They were slowed or stymied or strangled in their ability to continue in their conquest of Canaan. And it goes back to a man named Achan and something he took that wasn't his. Look at verses 20 and 21. And Achan answered Joshua and said, Indeed, I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and thus have I done. When I saw among the spoils, we're going back to Jericho. We're going back to when God's people walked around Jericho and conquered it. He said, When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonish garment, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold, 50 shekels weight, then I coveted them and took them. And behold, they are hid in the earth, in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. This story, this account of Achan, is a sobering one. The children of Israel had just experienced a massive victory at Jericho, but Achan's sin caused a devastating defeat at Ai. Because of his disobedience, 36 men lost their lives, and Israel was put to shame. But realize this, Achan's actions not only brought suffering upon himself, but also impeded the entire nation of Israel from moving forward in God's plan. I want you to think about the fact that Achan's sin didn't just cause him grief, it caused problems for a lot of families. 36 families had people that didn't come home, men that did not come home because of Achan's error. Because of what Achan did, men died. I'd ask you, friend, are your spiritual mistakes going to hurt others? I would sure hope not. Now, tomorrow on the broadcast, we're going to talk about the dangers of indecision when it comes to making some of these choices to get back right with God. Now, maybe you're ignoring God today. Maybe you are irritating God. Maybe you are impeding God. And maybe you're stuck in a place of indecision. You say, I don't want to let go of my sin. I don't want to let go of what I want to do. Friend, I counsel you, don't be indecisive. We're going to talk about that tomorrow on Bible Tract Echoes. Thank you so much for listening in. My prayer, as always, is that you have a great day for His glory. And yes, we will plan on talking to you soon. God bless.
Thank you for joining us today for Bible Tract Echoes, a ministry of Bible Tracts Incorporated. If you would like to receive a free sample booklet of all of our tracts, you can contact us by calling 309-828-6888. That's 309-828-6888. Our mailing address is P.O. Box 130, Dwight, Illinois 60420. A faster way to contact us is to go to our website at BibleTractsInc.org. That's BibleTractsInc.org. There you will find more information about our ministry and details on how you can support Bible Tracts Incorporated. Thanks for listening, and may the Lord richly bless you as you serve Him.